Hello there! Moe and Arishok are the ones that convinced the Senate this week. Moe wanted to follow in Alexander's footsteps and proposed a plan to conquer Persia and Mesopotamia. Arishok, meanwhile, advocated for peace, and at the same time he announced his retirement. Oh wait, he's actually not dead. And then there was JZHP, who just wanted the episode to continue. Speaking of which, 65 likes on a random comment or the next episode will definitely be the last. Hello there, my friends! Here we go, let's go. On the map, the empire looked nice and strong. But there was a war going on inside. The Christians and the pagans were still arguing about the right religion for the empire. But while they were still arguing about who was right, a whole new party suddenly entered the field. The Sun God.
The Golden God!
And there was another major problem. The emperor had no heirs except one daughter. Hello there! And she, becoming emperor, as the first woman ever, could end up in huge civil wars. Okay. I was managing my vassals when suddenly Gothic. Through this I also realized how far Roman culture had been pushed back in the last decades. Meanwhile, the Visigoths could celebrate their newly gained freedom and independence, but only for a short time. To honor Arishok, I built a golden statue in the capital of Britannia. Despite the strength of the empire, northern Vikings tried their best to free their lost land. Long story short, they had no chance. I took my revenge by conquering the last pieces of their land. The next years were quite peaceful, but then I decided that it was time to start war against the eastern kingdoms, and following in Alexander's footsteps as the Senate wanted. The war was won quickly, and I laid high focus on giving newly conquered territories to Roman officers to further the spread of Roman culture. Because another reason for riots and uprisings are vassals with different culture and religion, which is why I tried to eliminate or converting them right from the beginning. More wars pushing deeper into Persia followed. The Roman armies marched victoriously, and the war was very one-sided, which led to a significant enlargement of the Roman borders. And later I realized that the Britons started to colonize again. All the different cultures and religions made it hard for my vassals to keep everything under control. Through all this, the empire now looked a bit weird, but was insanely strong. Because everything looked weird, I decided to make it look clean and crispy again by conquering the neighboring nations. Imagine that's the reason for someone declaring war on you. So many smaller nations were conquered. And then I lost huge parts of the recording. That really sucked. Time had passed. The emperor died, and now his daughter is on the throne. And her reign so far, let's just say it's a bit tense, if you know what I mean. And I'm caught in 2 civil wars. Yeah. Scotland wants to inherit the whole Roman Empire. Thanks, Scotland. Thanks for nothing. I managed to bring the war under my control. But while I was still fighting these wars, the remnants of the Sassanid Empire were trying to reclaim their lost territory with a huge force. And it was the first time that I realized that the empire had become too large to be able to probably defend it at multiple fronts at once. Despite the troubled times, I was able to drive back the attackers and win the civil war. Not much later, Imperatrix Placidia died, probably because of all the stress. So Emperor Constans took over the reign. He marched in the Middle East and fought back the attackers, but there were more uprisings to come. And after defeating the last rebels near the Alps, a bit peace returned, but it wouldn't last long. For Constans quickly starting new wars. He was triumphing and achieved one victory after another in the Middle East, cleaning up Persia with great success. He also focused on the development in the later years of his life and finally died at the age of 88 years. Thus, Priscus became the new emperor, and he was truly skilled in the art of war and hand-to-hand combat. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about is him being a witch. Sus. But despite his amazing skills, or maybe because of it, he had to defend his reign and the empire against several uprisings. Once that was done, he turned his focus on the last Germanic tribes and launched a devastating attack against many tribes at once, but at the same time also developing the conquered land and thus civilizing it. Meanwhile, the London family had grown over 2,000 living members, thus being incredibly powerful and well known. In the following years, Priscus was murdered by an unhappy vassal, and so Martinus became new emperor. Under his reign, a time of peace and quiet was created. Now, you must tell me what you want to achieve at the end of this campaign, because the very next episode could also be the last one, Senators.